Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, when you're ready, just tell me where to go.
Yeah. And rolling.
Allan C. Brydon, thanks for talking to us, Bridie. Thanks for talking to the club. And we're here today really just to have a chat with you about old times and your memories of the Nelson Club and your time in the Nelson community. Allan C. Brydon, C standing for?
Claude.
Claude.
Is that thing going?
Yep.
Oh.
Don't worry about it, mate. She's all good.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in where Claude came from.
Yeah.
From the butcher?
The butcher. One of Ellis?
Yes. So your grandmother said.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Brydon, what sort of name's that?
Scotch.
Scotch name?
From Scotland. My great grandparents both come from Scotland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Came to Nelson?
Hey?
Did they come to Nelson?
No. I don't come from here. I come from Christchurch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're born in Christchurch?
Born in Christchurch.
Yep. Whereabouts in Christchurch?
St Albans.
St Albans. By the park there?
Hey?
By the park?
No, more or less by Rugby Park. You know where Rugby Park is?
Yep.
There, around about there. Just up the road.
You went to school in Christchurch?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
St Albans. Then I went to school in Timaru for 5 years. I was in an orphanage there.
Oh, okay.
St Saviour's Boys Home, Timaru.
Right. Timaru, yeah. And the college you went to there?
No, I came back to Christchurch in 1939. I did 1 year at Papanui High School.
Right.
In Christchurch.
What's the name of your mother?
Winifred.
Winifred. And your father?
Bill.
He's a good man?
No, he buggered off and left us. That's why my brother and I ended up in an orphanage.
Okay. Well, yeah.
He went to Australia.
Yeah. Okay. So from Christchurch, you did your schooling in Timaru.
Yeah.
You went back to Christchurch.
Yeah.
And then?
Then in 1949, a mate and them wanted to come up to Nelson working with tobacco.
Right.
So that's what we did. We lived in Motueka for a year. Then I came over to Nelson and joined the Nelson Rugby Football Club.
Oh, okay. So you first went to Motueka and then you came to Nelson.
Yeah.
Who got you to come to Nelson?
I suppose Bob Pugh, a mate of mine in Christchurch. There's 4 of us come up.
Yeah.
And they all went back and I stayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bob Pugh, what do you remember of Bob Pugh?
He played rugby for Miraval.
Right.
All of us did. The 4 of us that come up here played rugby for Miraval in Christchurch, and then they went back, and I stayed.
Okay. And what's your earliest recollections of the club back then?
In Nelson Club.
Yeah, your earliest memories. What's the first memory you remember?
Yeah, well, really, that was in 1950 I played for them.
Yeah.
And I think we were runners-up to Old Boys. Old Boys were going in those days. Rivals were going.
Yeah. So it's Nelson College Old Boys?
Nelson College Old Boys, yeah.
Yep.
And then they amalgamated with Rival.
Yep.
And they wanted to come to Nelson, but Nelson didn't want to lose the fact that they were the oldest rugby club in New Zealand.
Okay.
And they thought, if we amalgamate with Old Boys, we'll be becoming one of the youngest.
Mm.
You see, so they turned Old Boys down.
Some of the time there when there were a lot of rugby clubs in town, what was the sort of atmosphere like there back in those days when we had a lot of rugby clubs?
Oh, yeah, we were the strongest of the. There was Celtic, which is Marist now. I remember there that when they beat us in one of the rounds in 1950, and that was the first time ever that Celtic beat us. We were the strongest club in Nelson.
Right.
by far.
Yeah.
Rivals were, they were up and down. Old boys were up and down. See, a lot of guys, Ian Leggett, the cricketer, he played for Old Boys.
Yep. How many people involved in the club in those days?
Well, we had
Alan?
the president, Bill Reid. You've heard of him, haven't you?
Yes, a wee bit.
See, he went for years. And, no, it was quite a few. Mick Kinsett.
And the club rooms, were the club rooms built when you were there?
Yeah, well, they were built the year, I think, that I arrived, but they burnt down.
Oh, what happened there?
Well, I got caught on fire. Somebody threw
Was it you?
no,
Oh.
somebody threw a butt in the waste paper basket.
So you got to own up now.
Ah,
Yeah.
I don't know. That was the secretary was a joker by the name of Harold Sloss,
Yes.
and I think it was him that actually did it. Threw the butt. Oh, it was just accident.
Yeah. And so, how did you get the club rooms built again? How did that come
Tink
about?
Tink Phillips,
Yeah.
Terry Phillips.
Yes.
They built it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had a lot of working bees, but yeah, she was gutted.
Yeah. And we lost some photographs then too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a lot of. Yeah, we did.
Who in your time was some of the people you played with, rugby-wise?
Lick Gargiulio,
Yeah.
Leon Gargiulio,
Yeah.
Did Ward.
Can you tell us a little bit about those guys and where they came from and what they did?
Did come from over the bay.
Yeah.
Well, the Gargiulio tomato growers.
Right.
And Noel Barton.
Yeah.
You see, he was an old boy of the Nelson Club. Tubby Ramsey, he was another one. He was Army. Fluff Staines, he was Army. Joe was in the Army and all played for Nelson.
Mm. So, in terms of those guys now, obviously,
They're all dead now.
sure,
Yeah.
the rugby changed somewhat from back in those days.
Yeah, it is. It's a different game altogether now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play 2-3-2 in the scrums, anything like that?
No. It's what it is today. Yeah.
Okay.
3, 4, 1.
And how did Allan Brydon come along? Where did
Alice?
she pick you up?
Wow. Were there Alice having a sleep? I went over to Collingwood. I worked for a joker, Doug Lowe, and he got 3 mill houses to paint over in Collingwood.
Right.
And he asked me to go with him, so I ended up going anyhow, and I met the wife over there, and I stayed there 6 years.
Oh.
Came back here in 1956, married, 2 children,
Right.
and
So who's the first of your 2 children?
David.
David, yeah.
And Did Ward, he used to work at Highways Construction in the workshop.
Yep.
And he got me, come on, me better come back to the Nelson Club. So I joined because I wasn't playing then. I coached the 3rd grade. And I ended up club captain for about 6 years on the committee.
What were some of the things of the day in
We
terms
had a
of
lot
that?
of trouble with the Springbok business of no marries in the team. We had a meeting one night, and John Goodman noticed there was 3 or 4 jokers in there. He didn't know, so we closed the meeting and asked him to leave, and old John grabbed him by the arm to lead one of them out, and he hit him up for assault. Says that was so we got rid of them anyhow.
Yeah. Different times, eh?
Different times, yeah.
So your boys all play soccer, is that right?
Yeah, well, David played rugby, but in those days you had to have weight and age.
Yeah.
And David had the weight, but not the age. And the joker, whoever, well, I forget now who he was, the coach, he says, look, I can't play him, he's too young. So he went to soccer. Never never come back.
Yeah.
That's what happens, you see. Yeah. And up Victory Square, we lived in Imano Street, and Victory Square was a real soccer grounds were there, and yeah.
Peter played for them.
Hey?
Peter played for them.
Oh, Peter, the one that went in the Navy. Do you know Peter?
Tell us a little bit about Peter.
Hey?
Tell us a little bit about Peter.
Yeah, well, he played rugby.
Yeah.
But, and then he joined the Navy and did 12 years in the Navy and played for East Coast Bays in Auckland.
Oh, okay.
Got into the under 18 Auckland. He's got into the under.
I can't hear you, Alice.
No, it doesn't matter.
So you got in the Auckland under 18s?
He did, yeah. Oh, is that what Mum said?
Yeah. I'm just passing it on.
Yeah.
And what about the rest of your family? You got a few more children in the family. Barbara's a great sportswoman.
Played soccer, you see. John and Paul played soccer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Barbara
played, what'd she play, Alice?
Tennis and...
I can't hear.
tennis.
Tennis, yeah. She was a good tennis player.
Highland dancing.
Highland dancing too.
Yeah, Highland dancing.
And married a rugby footballer.
She married one of the club members.
Yep, Merrin Hodson.
Right.
Played first 5-8 for our senior team, rep team.
Yep. And you're in this photo here as club captain, Bridie. You can tell us a little bit about that team.
1967. What were they? Winners' Championship, Moller Cup. You see, Golden Bay, Motueka. They're their own union, and they played the winners of the competition over there and the winners here. Nelson played off, and that I think would be the Moller Cup.
Yep.
Played 13, won 11, lost 2, which is not bad, is it?
Noel Barton, the coach there.
Yep.
What was he like as a coach?
He was a good
Yep.
coach.
Hard?
You should know.
Hard?
Yeah.
Hard?
Yes, he was hard. Oh, he was good. He was fair though. He was good.
Anyone there now you know that are still around of your era that...
Well, here's John Goodman's in the team. He's still about. Johnny Lay's in Australia. Tommy Sharland's. Gary Stewart. Daryl Bowater. Ollie Atkinson. Maury Nelson, they're all about. Russell Dixon.
Yep.
Alan Ashby still about. Mike Dinan, he died. Gill, he's still about. Graham Dellington, he's still about. Nigel Massey's still about. I don't know where this Bill Crawley is.
There's still a few around.
Still a few around, yeah.
When you remember about teams back in those days...
There's Hoddy there. He's in the front row.
When you remember about teams of those days... When you remember about teams like those days...
Yeah.
What's the difference between those teams now and the teams you see out in the paddock now?
Oh, well... Old Bart's a forward. And you keep the ball close to the forwards. There were a good pack of forwards that crowd there in '67.
Yeah.
But Daryl Bowood was a very good footballer.
Halfback?
Who, Daryl? No, first 5'8".
Close.
He's not very well at the present either.
No. Well, give us that here. Thank you. Now, in terms of your best rugby memories,
I don't know.
what are some of the things you remember that stand out from those
I
days?
remember playing Old Boys in the final at Trafalgar Park, and we didn't think we'd win. And
Is this Nelson College Old Boys?
yeah.
What year was that, Bridie?
Oh, I think we were around about that.
Yeah.
We thrashed them 28-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Daryl, yeah, I think it might have been that year.
Yeah.
68. Yeah, so, a lot of water's gone under the bridge, isn't it?
Sure has.
Our club is doing good, what I hear. I talk to Don Fowler occasionally, and we're doing all right. It's hard going today. It's not easy.
Mm.
You know.
But how do you remember the past? What's the things you need to remember about a club like ours? We know we're the oldest club, but what makes us Nelson?
It makes no, she's a good club. She always has been.
Mm.
Bill Reid kept it on a straight and narrow. Fred McCormick, he was a good man.
What are the things that make us do? What are the things that make us Nelson, you think?
Well, I don't know, just
Heritage.
he got I can't remember back. Gunner.
There's a lot of guys involved in the club a lot of years.
Yeah.
So loyalty a big one?
Yeah, you take Don Fowler, he's been involved way back.
Mm.
He's been, good steward.
Mm.
Terry Phillips, he's Tinker's old, his son.
Mm.
Well, Terry, he's not involved now, but he lives in Richmond, but he was a good man.
When I'm 150 and I'm looking back at this interview, what do you think of the things that people would like to say about Allan Brydon?
Oh, that silly old bugger. Yeah, no. What else, Gunner?
That's it, Bridie. There's
That's
nothing
it,
else.
yeah.
Do you need to want to say anything else?
No.
Bridie, thanks a lot.
All right.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it very much. That's us.
Awesome.